Temperatures of over 1600 degrees Celsius were reached here to make quality iron products. VDL Castings were the company operating this foundry, creating many sorts of products. Most of them were used in the car factory of VDL in Born. But with the changing world, the foundry had to close down all of a sudden, leaving much of the impressive equipment behind. In this episode, we are taking a deep dive into the history of this foundry, and we are sneaking inside this factory while it was in the middle of demolition. Demolition works had already begun in the morning, so there was a chance of bumping into some workers. So we had to be careful. The majority of the rooms were already cleaned out completely, but the size of the halls itself shows you just how big these operations must have been. In the halls, you were quite visible if someone was entering, so we kind of wanted to leave this part as quickly as possible and move into some more hidden areas. And so we ventured deeper into the old halls of this foundry. The history of this foundry began in 1903 in the Dutch town of Tegelen, some kilometers north of this place. The newly started company, called Globe, focused on making cast iron drain covers for streets. These can still be found all over the Netherlands, having made thousands of them. This success kickstarted expansion over the years, opening new foundries in the area, such as in the Dutch towns of Bijlveld and Weert. The location in Dutch Limburg was perfect, being close to many Dutch coal mines, providing the factory with coal, and being located near Liège, providing the foundries with scrap metal. Throughout the years, the Globe made several items for many manufacturers, such as parts for the DAF trucks and car division. Times were booming for the Globe in the 1960s, with 3 factories operating and employing over 700 people. We reached what seemed to be an old lab. Although trashed, it was filled with a ton of old equipment. Once being quite expensive stuff, it was nice to finally see the first traces. In labs such as these, quality was checked for possible imperfections in the cast iron. It was the main room where the quality was ensured to make the best products possible. But our main goal was right next to the lab.
Dit zal het wel geweest zijn, denk ik. Ja, dit is die... Hier heb je hem, ja.
It was a dark, enormous room where we had to be really careful. Throughout the hall, the sound of workers could be heard echoing through the space. It was also opened up, so in theory, a worker could just walk in at any moment. And so, without any flashlights, we ventured into the hall. This was the heart of the factory, the place where the iron ore was heated up in the electric induction furnace. An electric induction furnace works sort of like a smaller scale blast furnace, heating crude iron into pure quality iron inside the furnace. Temperatures of 1600 degrees were reached, by induction instead of coal cokes. It was an impressive process, being also quite dangerous and tough to do. But it must have been truly spectacular to see in person back in the day. Right underneath the casting floor, a camera pole was located. Luckily, it wasn't in use due to the workers being on the terrain. But we still had to be careful. We walked around the impressive installation, documenting it all. It's not often you come across this kind of heavy industry in the Netherlands. Truly a dying breed. In 1971, expansions were needed, so together with the at the time coal mine of the Oranje Nassau, Operation Globon was opened. The most modern foundry in the country had to be opened in Hoensbroek, a suburb of the Dutch city of Heerlen. In 1975, it was opened, but times had changed due to the oil crisis of the 70s, collapsing the demand for steel and other products. National production wasn't enough for the firm, needing international customers. In a short time, the innovative company opened offices in Germany, Belgium and many other European countries. It worked, retaining much of the workers and saving the just opened foundry and the other factories. In the 1980s, design and production were all done in-house, now focusing largely on high-quality automotive parts. It became an impressive piece of the Dutch manufacturing industry.
De Globe. Een ijzergieterij om wereldwijd rekening mee te houden.
We were still in the casting hall, now entering the main control room of the furnace. It was quite dark in here again, so we couldn't film much. But this was the place where the furnace was operated, ensuring the process was successful. The state of it all was quite good, showcasing what work in here must have been like. We covered much of the building, so we had to head back to our original access point. To our disappointment, we couldn't reach the next door casting room due to people working there. The machine was supposed to be quite impressive and still in good condition. After packing our stuff, we noticed a lone worker operating a drill. The sound came straight from where we made our way inside the building.
Zo'n kabelstrippen.
Nee, denk het niet hoor. Weet je het zeker?
Hij is uit de controlekast is die dingen aan het wegtrekken.
It seemed not to be a worker, but instead a copper thief. That was even worse news for us, because if we get caught with the copper thief, we might be mixed up with them, which could result in large fines. We had to get out of here before the regular workers noticed the loud noises of the copper thief. Sneaking across the large factory halls, we made it just a couple of meters past the thief. But we eventually made it out. In 2016, the company Componenta, which was operating the foundry at the time, closed it down. But the Dutch firm VDL saw a future in it and bought it. VDL initially saw it as a sector with quite some potential, investing funds into the factory and modernizing it. But with the energy crisis breaking out in 2022 and equipment not fulfilling current regulations, the factory got into trouble again. With no support or vision from the Dutch government, VDL decided to close down the factory in 2024. Today, the foundry is being demolished, erasing a piece of unique industrial heritage and history, which is becoming rarer by the day in the Netherlands.